Hello everyone and welcome to another Anime Secrets video. Today we are discussing the fallout, the aftershocks, the aftermath of the Game Awards 2023. There was a lot of excitement going into it. Of course, this being 2023, in terms of critically acclaimed games, this is one of the best years we've had in quite some time. Only other years like 2011, and 1998 really compared to it, so this year was phenomenal. Unfortunately, we had the lows of all the numerous layoffs and scandals that broke out throughout the gaming industry. Something that unfortunately wasn't discussed too much in the Game Awards. We'll get into that more later on in the video, but the biggest winner of the night being Baldur's Gate 3, taking home 6 awards, including Game of the Year. Alan Wake 2 finishes up runner-up for the most awards, won in the evening with 3, including Best Game Direction. Other winners for the night include Sea of Stars winning Best Independent Game, Tears of the Kingdom winning Best Action Adventure Game, Armored Core 6 winning Best Action Game, and Final Fantasy 16 winning Best Score. We've got a lot to get into. We're going to be discussing a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about a little bit structurally here. I want to get one part out of the way quickly because I think overall as an awards ceremony, this is probably one of the better ones in terms of announcements, well-deserved game victories, and kind of pacing that the show had. But there's also a lot of kind of lows that I kind of want to get to first more than anything. So we're going to go ahead and go with kind of the bad of the show, what I thought was some of the lowlights, not so great things about the show, the good, talk about the winners a little bit here, go through the list, and then of course break down kind of the 5 things that I'm most excited about that got shown off. There were a lot of really good games that got shown off, and that makes me excited for both 2024 and 2025. I think as we head into the current gen of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, whatever they ended up calling it, we should start to see a lot of these consoles kind of break through. We can no longer use the excuse of they have to develop some of these games for prior consoles. We're full blown into the current console generation, so seeing all these amazing games, coming soon to, the powerful consoles is going to be exciting. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and break it off, and we're going to go ahead and start with the bad. And I mentioned this at the beginning, and and it's worth mentioning because Jeff Keighley, for a lot of good that he does for the gaming industry, for kind of him taking the baton from basically, unfortunately, the fall of E3, and him handling a lot of these bigger press conferences is a good thing. I think we do need someone to be able to set up excitement levels, conferences, to be able to show off all these games. And he does a lot of good. I will not knock the guy. He does a lot of good, but unfortunately there is some other things that kind of feel bad, and one of them being that there wasn't really a lot of time dedicated to kind of call out a lot of these massive layoffs that a lot of game companies have been going through. In a year where we're getting a lot of not just record highs in terms of critically acclaimed games, but record high in terms of profits made by a lot of these companies, and we turn around and we're seeing a bunch of the layoffs happening, in a ceremony that's claiming to be celebrating gaming and everything it represents. It's a shame that we didn't get anything, this is, we dedicate some of this for, the people who've been unjustly laid off, or for the people struggling, or for the studios that are, being bought up, or all that stuff. It just feels bad. How are we supposed to talk about it? And then the other point that this kind of leads into is anytime a presenter could have potentially had the time to talk about this or call it out, there wasn't enough time given to them. I think one of the craziest things, being there live last year and hearing Christopher Judge just kind of go through his speech, and yeah, it was a long one, but it was an impassioned one, and when you do an awards ceremony, you kind of have to give enough time to let people talk and express their feelings. I looking back at, the Oscars this past year, what was one of the highlights? Well, Ke Huy Quan winning Best Supporting Actor, and hearing that impassioned speech, about how don't let your dreams die. Like, if we had just gone with the normal Game Awards, he doesn't even get to that part. And so the fact that none of the nominees were given that much time, I think they were given at most 30 to 45 seconds, and some of the winners who won, add in that they needed to have their speech translated, because that's just, English is not everyone's first language. A lot of these developers come from other countries, so having their interpreter, wait and then give the speech, and then before they even say like 2 sentences, their time is up. Like Eiji Aonuma, like one of the most legendary game designers, wasn't even given a minute to do a speech, and we're dedicating like 5 minutes to A-list celebrities. Like, I'm not gonna knock Matthew McConaughey because he was promoting a game, and I'm a fan of Matthew McConaughey, and what he was talking about, the little spiel at the beginning, going hey, all that stuff. Not hey, that's that Albert. All right. That's to be expected. That's what people want to hear. But the time that could have been given to a lot of the winners, and one of the worst ones being when you see Baldur's Gate. I forgot if it was at the end of the ceremony. Who's talking about dedicating the game to some of the team staff that they lost in death, and then the Game Awards music starting to play off, and you look up in the distance and he's seeing a sign that's saying wrap it up. Like, that's just disrespectful as all heck, man. And so the fact that that doesn't happen, or that didn't happen, is just, it's crazy. Like, it is absolutely crazy that these people were not given more time, and we have celebrities either high or drunk just yelling to people who aren't even shouting to shut up, and it's like, bro, you couldn't have cut out those 3 minutes to give to someone else. It's absolutely baffling. It's absolutely insane. And another, it's just not that good. Just not that good. And those are kind of maybe my main gripes about him. Like, I understand this is always going to be a show that's going to be more about what's shown than what wins. We're always going to talk about what got shown at the Game Awards. We're going to talk about what gets you excited for next year or for the year after. What Nintendo is working on, what Sony Studios is working on, what Square is working on. What Capcom is coming out, new Monster Hunter, new Street Fighter, new character, all that stuff is what's going to be the main talking points that people will remember at the next day. And that's just because that's the nature of the video game business. But the fact that the winners, I should say, weren't given the proper time to really say anything regarding their wins is disappointing. And I'm going to repeat myself. I'm sure I've already said this earlier in the video, but the fact that this claims to be a celebration of all gaming, but the people who win don't even get the chance to celebrate, just doesn't sit right. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed in the future. Like, I can imagine the Peacock Theater not being cheap to rent, and I get it, like time, trying to balance out time between what wins and what you need to show off is a tough act. Like, I'm not saying I could do any better, but the fact that a lot of winners don't even get the chance to go on stage, it's just read off in like a rapid fire succession. There's 4 games that win an award, like boom, 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 and then we move on to the next trailer, we move on to the next set of 3 or 4 ads, and it's like, okay, fine. And it just sucks. Like, it absolutely sucks. And then the other big thing is the fact that 3,000 signatures were put in there, including 79 of the previous future class recipients, to call for a statement to be made about the crisis going on in Israel and Palestine, specifically in Gaza. Nothing was really said, and my memory serves right, I think someone got cut off just as someone about said something. I could be mistaken, but the fact that not even a statement was said, like, I get it. You know, we don't know what political readings of some of these people are. They may not agree with it. They may not even know the full details of it. But I feel like, at the very least, Keeley and company could have said something. But that's the negatives of the Game Awards. Really, for me, the biggest negative being, like, people not being given the chance to talk about their victory. You know, it's a shame that when presenters were given more time than the actual winners to talk, it kind of sucks. But we'll go ahead and talk about the good here. And there was a lot really good. Like I said, I feel like the ceremony itself, this is probably the first year where it didn't really feel like there was too much filler. I think the cutting back of world premieres or special releases, especially for a lot of games that have not looked the best when they were shown and end up being like not the best either when they get released, I think that's been a good thing. I think being more selective about what you show in the Game Awards is probably the better call. You know, the more Monster Hunter Rises that we... Is it Rise? Sorry, I don't want to get my titles confused. Wilds. The more Monster Hunter Wilds that we get, and, you know, the less whatever the dodgeball battle royale that they showed off like last year or the year before, the better. You know, having these little bit bigger hitters in combination with a lot of smaller independent games, I think it's the perfect marriage, and kind of the less gotcha games they show on there, probably the better. So I think the selection of games that they showed this year, it was a way better improvement than some of the other ones we've gotten. The performances, I'm always someone who, when I watch the Oscars, one of the things I'm always looking forward to is the musical performances of what's up for Best Song. Just because it gives you a feel and a taste of what the movie that it's representing is. And so having the two songs from Senua 2 and Alan Wake 2, I think was a great way to kind of represent those games and celebrate them, especially the Alan Wake 2 one. That thing was bat insanity, and I loved every second of it. I thought that was really good. And I'm trying to think here, what other things were good? I think having more people who work on games and less reliance on celebrities has been shifting towards that way. You know, we haven't seen it drunk Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez presenting Game of the Year as we have in the years past. So having people go in, present what they're presenting, and then go forward, I think that's great. And then, of course, yeah, a lot of really good for this year, and I mainly enjoyed it. Alright, so now that we kind of talked about that, we'll kind of go through the winners here. I'll kind of give a brief rundown. Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate 3 wins over Alan Wake 2, Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Mario Wonder. I think Baldur's Gate had built up an insane amount of momentum going into the Game Awards. And, you know, it was something that the way a lot of people who vote on the committee were talking about, like, you could just feel it, like, yeah, this is probably going to be the winner. I myself was rooting for Tears of the Kingdom, but I can't complain about Baldur's Gate 3. I think what they accomplished, what they've done, especially for CRPGs, I think is really good, and kind of showcasing what, like, a studio who hasn't been dealt the best of hands at times can do when they're really allowed to embrace their creative vision. Can't say enough of it. The upset one here for Best Game Direction, Alan Wake 2. Most of the time, similar to how in the Oscars, where when you see whatever wins Best Director, tends to usually win Best Film. It doesn't always happen, but that gives you a really good indicator. Alan Wake 2 winning Best Game Direction kind of just threw me for a loop, because I'm like, well, if Alan Wake's not even the Best Action Adventure Game of the Year, is it really going to win Game of the Year? Like, whoa. It kind of threw everything off. Another well-earned win. You honestly could not have gone wrong with either of the games. I think, like, the weakest link of the nominees. So we had Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, Mario Wonder. Was probably Spider-Man 2. And when Spider-Man 2 is like your weakest link, you know you're in a loaded battlefield. Best narrative, Alan Wake 2 beats Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, FF16, and Spider-Man 2. The first Alan Wake was a really great game. Alan Wake 2 is definitely on my to-play list. I'll be checking that out pretty soon. As soon as I get some PC upgrades. Art direction, Alan Wake 2 again wins. Beats out Hi-Fi Rush, Tears of the Kingdom, Lies of P, and Mario Wonder. This one is actually one that I kind of disagree with, that Alan Wake 2 won. Just because from the moments that I've seen of it, I cannot see anything that's on screen. It is very, very dark. And that makes it hard for me to appreciate the art direction. Whereas something like Hi-Fi Rush, which I think was my dark horse pick to win this. Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think they were going to award the same game with the same style twice. While Lies of P has a fantastic art style, and then Mario Wonder is just trippy as all heck. So this one is the only one I kind of disagree with Alan Wake 2 winning, but that's just my opinion. Score and music, Final Fantasy 16 beats out Baldur's Gate, Alan Wake, Hi-Fi Rush, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom really only has a couple new songs that was put on there to the fantastic Breath of the Wild soundtrack, so I knew that wasn't going to win, and honestly, I thought it might have been like the weakest one on here. Baldur's Gate 3, haven't heard too much of the soundtrack. Alan Wake 2, really good score. Hi-Fi Rush, very, very good score, but this was going to 16. Soken, like his story, composing the score while recovering from leukemia, I believe, is just phenomenal. And if you've listened to the music that's come out from the game, it is really, really good. Great to see Final Fantasy back on top for music. 7 Remake won a couple years ago, so nice to see them keep up the momentum. Audio design, Hi-Fi Rush beats Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4. As my friend put it, I hope the game that is built around the element of sound would win Best Audio Design. Performance, Neil Newbern as Asterion from Baldur's Gate 3 beats out Idris Elba from Cyberpunk, Melanie Liburd from Alan Wake 2, I apologize if I mispronounced her name, Yuri Lowenthal as Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2, Cameron Moynihan as Cal Kestis from Jedi Survivor, and Ben Starr as Clive Rosefield from Final Fantasy 16. I believe this one was always a two-way race between Neil and Ben Starr. I myself was rooting for Ben because FF8 fans stick together, but well-deserved win on Neil's part. Games for Impact. This one I'm not too familiar. The only one that I knew of was A Space for the Unbound, but this is basically games that send a message, tell a story, or touch upon a subject that isn't really touched upon too much to bring greater awareness for it. So this was given to Chia. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with the game, so I can't really comment on it too much, but it looks cute. Best Indie Game, Sea of Stars beats out Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Viewfinder. Dave the Diver should not have been nominated, as it was basically an arm of a billion-dollar company that made the game, so I don't really think that falls in line with the term independent, but well earned on Sabotage Studio. If you're looking for a Chrono Trigger-like game, go check out Sea of Stars. Cocoon wins Best Debut Indie Game, beats out Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. Community support, Baldur's Gate 3 beats out Cyberpunk, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky. community's going nuts over Baldur's Gate 3. Hard to not see that one coming. Ongoing game, Cyberpunk 2077 beats out Apex, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin. This one I did have a bit of a problem with because, give me a moment here. So the reason why I kind of have a problem with Cyberpunk winning is this, how can I put it without sounding like a jerk? The game that Cyberpunk 2077 is now is what should have been released instead of a half-baked product that was released to the public that was nowhere near completion, that was nowhere near what they promised. And while yes, the work that the developers put into it to get it to the current state that it is in now is great, but it's hard for me to say, yeah, this wins best ongoing when they're all but wrapped up with future updates for the game. Like, after this year, it's like basically done. Like, I don't agree with it. I don't know which one between the other four, but those are games that are actually ongoing. You know, Apex and Fortnite are constantly adding new modes, changing up the style, all their battle pass, whatever. And then FF14 is an MMO that's always getting stuff put into it. And then Genshin, you know what, gotcha, bone games are not my thing, so I'm gonna stay away from that. Mobile game goes to Honkai Star Rail, beats out Ever Crisis, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. VRAR goes to Resident Evil Village, beats out Gran Turismo, Humanity, Horizon Call of the Mountain, and Synapse. Horizon continues its losing ways in the Game Awards. You hate to see it. Action game, Armored Core 6, as I stated earlier, beats out Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2. I think the only one that could have given it a run for Best Action Game was Hi-Fi Rush, but mech game wins, I am happy. Action Adventure, Tears of the Kingdom beats out Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Jedi Survivor. This is probably the second most competitive category after Game of the Year because aside from Jedi Survivor, no disrespect to the Star Wars fans, this is neck and neck with the other three. It is crazy the amount of high quality games we got this year, and this category kind of shows it to you. I think Alan Wake, Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4 could have very easily won this award as well. RPG, Baldur's Gate 3 beats out FF16, Liza P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield. That is the only nomination that Starfield got this year. You know, it is wild how a Bethesda game just really hyped up Bethesda game too. Just only manages to get one nod and it doesn't even win. Insane year. Baldur's Gate 3 again, kind of the overall favorite. I don't think anything, maybe FF16 had a chance of beating it out. Fighting games, Street Fighter 6 beats out God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nick All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery. This was a two-horse race between Street Fighter 6 and MK1. Glad to see Street Fighter 6 win, well earned. Family game, or the Nintendo Award as some people call it, Mario Wonder beats out Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars. This was Mario's to win. The only one that could have given it a challenge was Pikmin 4, but you know, the death of thousands of innocent Pikmin might have prevented that. But don't worry, Pikmin fans, because Pikmin 4 ends up winning Best Sim and Strategy Game, beating out Advance Wars 1 and 2, City Skyline 2, Company of Heroes 3, and Fire Emblem Engage. Happy to see Pikmin win an award. That series is vastly underrated and should get more love. Multiplayer game, Baldur's Gate 3 beats out Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Mario Wonder. Again, Baldur's Gate is meant to be played with a group of friends as basically a D&D campaign. No surprise there. Sports racing game, Forza beats out EA Sports, F1 23, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, and the Crew Motorfest. I think I have no horse in this race, so go Forza. I think well earned. Forza is usually really good. Innovation and accessibility, Forza beats out Diablo, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel, Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. I'm not entirely too sure about the accessibility options in these games, so can't really comment on it too much. I do apologize. Best Adaptation: Last of Us beats out Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, Mario Brothers Movie, and Twisted Metal. Video game adaptations are becoming more and more competent as the years go by. Again, this one was The Last of Us to lose, but don't sleep on any of the adaptations except Gran Turismo. Castlevania Nocturne, phenomenal animation from Netflix. What they're doing with the Castlevania franchise over there is fantastic. The Mario Brothers Movie is such a love letter to the series. You know, light on story, could have been better on that front, but always puts a smile on my face. Twisted Metal, I've heard a lot of really good things on it. I support it because I love Samoa Joe. The Player's Choice: Baldur's Gate 3 beats out Cyberpunk, Genshin, Tears of the Kingdom, and Spider-Man 2. And then most anticipated game, the game that people are looking forward to the most next year, 7 Rebirth beats out Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. No surprise there. 7 Remake, if I had gotten the chance to make a video for top 10 games of 2020, 7 Remake would have won for us here at Anime Secrets. And then very briefly, the esports and creators, Valorant wins best esports game. Lee Faker sang, oh dude, I butchered that, I do apologize. Wins best esports athlete. Christine Potter Sheeb wins best esports coach. JD Gaming wins best esports team. 2023 League of Legends World Championship wins best esports event. And content creator of the year goes to the VTuber Iron Mouse. I believe this is actually the first VTuber to win content creator, so congratulations to her. I know a lot of my friends were really excited about that. So yeah, those were the winners. For the most part, like I said, there's only really one that I kind of disagreed with, and there wasn't anything too crazy in terms of snubs. The only one that I can think of is Octopath Traveler 2 not being nominated for score. Alright, so that was a lot to get through. So those were the winners and everything of the event. So now gonna go through here for give me a moment. I just had to drink some more water. Oh, my throat is getting dry. So yeah, here next up I'm gonna talk about the reveals that were shown and kind of count down the 5 favorite ones I had. So there's a lot of really good stuff shown here, and for me, here's how I'm gonna kind of go through them. Man, there's a lot, and a wide variety of games and studios showed stuff on here, stuff that I didn't even think about or would even piece together. We knew that we were going to see something new about Hideo Kojima's next game, but to have Jordan Peele come out and say, yeah, I'm working with him on this horror game, was out of left field, and honestly, fantastic news. Jordan Peele is killing it in the movie business, so having him cross over into gaming only ups. But yeah, so these are kind of in order the 5 announcements I'm kind of looking forward to that are new. So the 7 Rebirth trailer we're not going to include on here, even though that song was phenomenal. It gave me like real Eyes on Me vibes to it. Seeing our first look at Sid and Vincent for Rebirth was awesome. It's like 7 Rebirth is the game that is making me go, I need to get a PlayStation 5. I have nothing but positives to say about 7 Remake, and so continuing in that new world of Midgard that they showed, well, not Midgard, we left Midgard at the end of Rebirth, or not Rebirth, Remake, but seeing what the new world of Final Fantasy VII is going to look like. But yeah, five best new games that they showed off. 5 is going to be the Sega collection of games that they showed off. Just absolute out of left field here. Sega going, yeah, we're not just going to rely on Sonic and Persona and the Yakuza series for our sales. We're going to go back to the series that, made us competitive. You know, yes, Sonic was the big one, but there were other franchises that they put in there. And so seeing Jet Set Radio, seeing Crazy Taxi, seeing Shinobi, seeing Streets of Rage, and seeing Golden Axe come back, huge ups. Number 4. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. Number 4, Visions of Mana. If you click up here, you can see our Trials of Mana review. Visions of Mana, it's great to be back into the world of the Mana series. The game looks cute. I am always a sucker for a classic action RPG. So, you know what? Bring that on. I cannot wait. Number 3, Marvel's Blade. I was joking with my friends when they were showing the trailer for that, and I just saw the guy getting a shave, and I'm like, yo, Blade. And then when they showed it off, I'm like, oh, shoot, Blade. And, you know, put this in combination with, I just want to make sure I'm getting everything down right, Arcane Studios, the people who made Deathloop, and I want to make sure I get this right and attribute them to it. Thief and Prey, or not Thief, but Prey and Deathloop, like, and Dishonored, get me in. I am all for this. This is an amazing, amazing pickup of properties to go in there. So absolutely, I am down for that. I am very, very excited for Blade, more than I am Wolverine. Alright, so that's number 3. Excuse me. Number 2, Tales of Kinzera Zao, Metroidvania indie game. The person who was presenting the game, I believe he was in Assassin's Creed Mirage, told a really hard, was speaking from the heart, talking about how, entering the video game world as a developer was going to be something new, and how his dad was the one who got him into games. And so seeing someone put in a passion project that blends in a great game style in terms of Metroidvania with stories from their heritage, from their, ancestry, is beautiful. The game itself looks really, really good. The one thing I always feel like in a Metroidvania game you need to have is good movement, and the movement in the trailer they showed for Tales of Kinzera looked phenomenal. So I am all for that. That is one that's coming out in the spring. And then my number 1 announcement, Monster Hunter Wilds. It's Monster Hunter, man. It's a great series. I am very basic. I am very simple. I see big monster that I want to make armor out of. I go hunt big monster to make armor of. Alright, so that is going to be it for the wrap up here for the Game Awards 2023. And also remember, at the end of the month, closer to after Christmas, we're going to be putting out our list for the top 10 games of the year, so be on the lookout for that as well. Anyways, once again, this has been Miguel from AnimeSecrets.org, signing out. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now.